So this is about the z transform of g of k. Z transform of g of k is z upon z minus b, where the region of convergence is mod z less than mod b, which is the interior of the circle with radius b, right? And center 0. I hope you have remembered that I've explained that mod of z minus z naught equal to r represent a circle with radius r and center z naught. Right? So it is mod z is just like mod of z minus 0. So 0 is the center and b is the radius here. Now let us have a conclusion. If we consider a equal to b there by skipping that ROC part for a while, if we neglect this and this part, and if we consider b equal to a, then what will happen? What do you think? If I replace b equal to a by skipping this ROC part, then what will be the conclusion? What do you think? Just look at these two, this and this. What will be the conclusion? Are they same? If I replace b equal to a, are the z transform of f of k and g of k same? Will the same if I replace b equal to a? Hello, reply please. If I replace b equal to a, if I consider b equal to a, then will the transform of f of k and g of k same? That is my question.
No,
No. Why?
sir. The limits of f of k and g of k are different.
No, no, no. I'm not talking about f of k now and g of k. I'm talking about f of z and g of z. So what will be f of z here? Here f of z is z upon z minus a, right? And here g of z, this is g of z, right? So g of z will be what? Z upon z minus a. I'm considering b to be a. And my question,
Sir, no, the g of f of z is outside the circle and this is inside.
that is what
So
I'm
how
saying. That
they are not
just keep the
same?
no 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 no. I've already told you that just keep the region for a while. If we exclude the region, if you're not considering the region, then will the same.
Huh, sir.
Okay, that is my question. So if we are neglecting the region of convergence for both of these, then the conclusion is z transform of f of k and g of k are same, no matter the functions are same. Isn't it? If we look at the functions, are the functions same? Are these functions same?
No.
No. But still, their z transforms are same without region of convergence. Is it okay? Okay. So actually, we are discussing uniqueness of inverse z transform. Uniqueness of inverse. That means whether that z transform and its inverse z transform unique or not. That is what I mean to discuss. So here we have a conclusion now. Though we have two different sequences, but their z transforms are same, right? And if we go reverse way, if I apply the inverse z transform onto that f of z and g of z, now f of z and g of z are same. My condition is b equal to a, isn't it? Now the z transform f of z is z upon z minus a, and it is also z transform of g of g of k, that is g of z, right? So if I apply the inverse z transform onto that z upon z minus a, then what it should be? What it will be? It will be f of k and g of k, right? Both, because uh, both have the z transform z upon z minus a. So their inverse z transform will be f of k and g of k. So my question is, are they unique then? Are these inverse z transforms are unique?
Yes, sir.
They are not unique, na? How they are unique?
Sir,
Not
one
unique.
thing I want to know, by inverse of z, are we getting to know the limits like k less than and greater than
No, no,
by
no.
inverse?
What, see, whatever the case are there, whether it is positive or non-negative, we have just discussed that the Z transforms are same. If I consider B equal to A, see here also, if you are confused in B and A, let us take B equal to A here. So what will be G of K? It will be just minus A raised to K na, for K negative. Are you getting my point? G of K
Yeah.
will be minus A raised to K for K negative, and it will be 0 for K non-negative. And f of K will be 0 for K negative, and A raised to K for K non-negative. Isn't it? So functions are totally different. But what I'm getting, their inverse Z transform is the same, that is Z upon Z minus A. And when I apply the inverse Z transform onto that f of Z or G of Z, what I'm getting? I'm getting the two different functions or the sequences, right? Two different inverses of that f of z or g of z. So therefore, if I exclude the region of convergence, my conclusion is now the if I exclude the region of convergence without considering the region of convergence, inverse Z transforms are not unique, isn't it? So that is what the meaning of inverse Z, region of convergence. In region of convergence, inverses and that Z transforms are also unique. Unique. Remember, if anybody asks to about the uniqueness of Z transform to you, isn't it? So first of all, you have to concentrate on the region of convergence, whether it is given or not. Is it? If it is not given, then we cannot say. Okay, it will be not unique. And that is what my point is. So let us have a conclusion now. That is what here they mean. Now, if A equal to B, then Fz equal to Gz equal to Z upon Z minus A. So for A equal to B, Z transform is Z upon Z minus A. If A equal to B, then two sequences f of k and g of k have the same Z transform. Therefore, inverse Z transform Z of this function will be two different sequences. That is what I have just discussed just, indicating that inverse Z transform is not unique. Okay. So what is the main condition required? Region of convergence for the uniqueness. Remember. However, if we specify the region, interior or exterior of the circle, this is a circle now. We have considered B equal to A, remember. So the circle will be x square plus y square equal to A square, isn't it? And f of k, we have discussed, I think is the transform exist in the exterior of the circle. We have discussed, right? And for g of k, its Z transform is exist in the interior of the circle, isn't it? Right? So if I combine these two, then the Z transform will exist inside and outside of the circle, remember. So that is what this means. If we specify the region, interior or exterior of this circle, known as a region of convergence, then we get exactly unique, exactly one inverse Z transform, remember. That is, inverse Z transform of f of Z is f of k only. Now it will not be g of k. Why? Because we are specifying interior or exterior, isn't it? So if I have a given, if I have given z upon z minus a as a function, and if I want to find its inverse Z transform in the exterior of the circle, then what it will be? It will be, of course, f of k. And if I want to find the inverse Z transform of this in the interior part of the circle, then that will be g of k, isn't it? So this implies that Z transform and its inverses are uniquely related in the specified region of convergence. I hope it is clear now. Okay. Is there any problem with the region of convergence and the uniqueness of inverse Z transforms? Please ask.
Sir, can you repeat that last one part
Okay.
again?
Okay. Yes. Yes. I said that uh, let's start from the function here. F of k and g of k are defined, right? Both are different function. No matter whether a equal to b or a is not equal to b. If I consider a equal to b, then also these two functions are different. See, in negative part this is 0, and in negative part this is non-zero. In positive part or non-negative part this is non-zero, and in non-negative part this is 0. So what I mean, these two functions are totally different, isn't it? Now I have evaluated its z transform. What is the z transform of f of k? It is f of z. And what is z transform of g of k? It is g of z. I'm getting like this, isn't it? And if I replace b by a by excluding the region of convergence, then I'm getting the same z transform, isn't it? So my point is, without region of convergence, whatever the region of convergence, if I exclude that part, then my conclusion is that z transforms are same, isn't it? Whatever the function, though no matter whether the functions are equal or different, if I'm getting the equal z transforms, then their inverse z transforms are not unique. That is my conclusion. But if I consider a region of convergence, isn't it, along with the given function, then there will be a unique z transform. That is a final conclusion. If I've given the function along with its region of convergence, then its inverse z transform will be unique. That is what the uniqueness of z transform, uniqueness of inverse z transform, isn't it? That is what the conclusion here. Is it okay, Ayush?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Note, in case of one-sided sequence, one-sided means it is either positive sequence or negative sequence. Positive means it is defined only in positive part. Negative means it is defined only in negative part, or the complete sequence. Like, so one-sided sequence, just like causal sequence, right? Then there is no necessary of specifying ROC. This note is very important. If the sequence is one-sided sequence, then no matter whether you are considering the region of convergence or you are not considering the region of convergence, isn't it? Why? Because in both sided sequence, or sorry, in one sided sequence, of course the sequence, the limits, the terms of the sequences are 0, isn't it? So the summation of those terms will be 0. That 0 is nothing. By the term region of convergence, we will mean the region of absolute convergence. Absolute convergence means what? See, if I have a sequence of alternate plus minus signs, suppose let us have a simple sequence series as a 1 uh, 1 1 minus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 minus 1 by 16. So this is a, if you look at the terms of this sequence and series, the pattern is just like 1 upon 2 square, isn't it? So the nth term or kth term, general term, is will be 1 upon 2 square. 2 के power में है देखो, 1 upon 2 square, 2 cube, 2 raised to 4. But the sign are alternate signs, plus minus plus minus. So this is alternating series, isn't it? And if we want to check, actually that is what the part excluded in from M1 in 2019 pattern. In earlier pattern, this detailed explanation were there, isn't it? About the convergence and divergence of the sequences and series were there. I don't know why that part have excluded, because that is very important for the GATE examinations or for the competitive examinations. You should know the convergence and divergence of the sequence and series. There were, I think, 10 to 11 tests to check whether the given series is convergent or not. Is it? If we have a time, then we can discuss that part, which is very important actually to you. Remind me later. Okay. So here, what I mean that if we have an alternating series and if we want to check its convergence on divergence, then we have to consider the series of mod. What will happen when we take the mod of each term? Isn't it? Because in original series there are alternate plus minus terms. So if we count, then sometimes just like sine or cos, isn't it? What is the limit of sine and cos as n tends to infinity or theta tends to infinity? It will be either +1 or -1, isn't it? So limits are not unique. Just so that is what here. if we have alternating series, then sometimes the limit will be plus and sometimes the limit will be minus. And if you know the strong result of limit, limit will never be different. Limit is always equal, isn't it? Limit is unique, not equal, sorry, unique. Limit is unique. So that is what I mean. So to get the unique limit, to get the unique point of convergent, we have to take the mod of each term. And when I take mod, and by taking mod, if the given series is convergent, then that original series is called series of absolute convergence. Absolute. Okay, so this note says by the term region of convergence, we will mean the region of absolute convergence. This term will be abbreviated to ROC, absolute convergence. So now consider the sequence f of k where f of k is defined like this. So actually this is a combination of the both of the sequences we have discussed in the previous example, isn't it? F of k plus g of k now here we are having, isn't it? F of k is minus b raised to k for k negative and it is a raised to k for k non-negative. So how to find the Z transform of such functions, sequences? So you can see there, the definition of Z transform is from minus infinity to infinity f of k z raised to minus k. It is plus, it must be plus infinity. Yeah? This is a correction here, plus infinity. Okay. So the definition is minus infinity to minus infinity to plus infinity f of k z raised to minus k, isn't it? And then since the function is defined in two parts, negative and non-negative, we have to split this interval into two parts, two sub-intervals, isn't it? So minus infinity to minus 1 plus 0 to infinity, that is what I did here. And in negative interval, what is the function defined? It is minus b raised to k. So they have substituted. And in positive or non-negative, the function is defined to be a raised to k. So they have substituted here, isn't it? And we all know now the arrangement, isn't it? For the negative terms, what we are doing? We are just replacing k by minus r, or you can say k by minus k. Isn't it? Doesn't matter. By replacing k by minus k only in the first part, remember, not in both part, because we don't have any problem in the second part of this. Isn't it? Here all k's are positive, but here all k's are negative. That is why we are getting those negative. We are converting those negative k's to positive k's. So when I replace k by minus k, what will happen? Minus minus will get cut, and I'll get k from infinity to 1. Okay, so k, or they have replaced here k by minus m. Okay, it doesn't matter which variable you are taking, you can take any variable. So for k equal to minus infinity, and m will be infinity, and for k equal to minus 1, m will be 1, right? So m vary from 1 to infinity, b raised to minus m z raised to m, and here k varies from 0 to infinity, a z raised to minus 1. Please don't get confused with these two. You have to substitute only in the first part, not in second part, because we don't have any problem. Please ask if any confusion in this. All right. So now by raising the powers, combined power of b raised to minus 1 z, or by taking m outside by laws of indices, I can write like this, and here it will be like this. All right. So for varying, or by splitting this summation from 1 to infinity, what we'll get? We'll get a geometric series with the common ratio b raised to minus 1 z, and here by splitting the series, again we'll get a geometric series with the common ratio a z raised to minus 1. All right. Always remember, we have to consider the common ratio less than 1, because what is the reason? What is the reason why we are considering common ratio less than 1?
Sir, to be convergent.
Yes,
Finite.
that geometric series to be convergent, isn't it? Because we all know at r is equal to 1 or r is greater than 1, that geometric series is getting divergent, isn't it? And we don't know whether it diverges. It diverges to plus infinity or minus infinity or something else, is it? So that is why, since we are trying to get a finite limit point, finite single limit point, we want the given geometric series as a convergent series, and that is why we are taking mod of r less than 1. Okay. So that is why this is a sum or the limit point of this series, that is a upon 1 minus r. What is a? A is b raised to minus 1z, right? 1 minus r. Coincidentally, here the first term and common ratio same, but it is not always. Okay, you can see here. Here the first term of this series is 1 and the common ratio is a z raised to minus 1. All right, but both of these series or both of these points or both of these series is convergent only if mod of their common ratio is less than 1. So if I consider this, then mod of b raised to minus 1 z less than 1, and if I consider this to be convergent, then mod of common ratio, that is a z raised to minus 1, is less than 1. So by simplifying this, we have to get the condition on mod z. Always remember mod z. All right. So here when I write for mod z is less than mod b, right? And here mod z is greater than mod a. You can see here. And when I simplify this, what I'll get? I'll get z upon z minus b, and here z upon z minus a in these two, isn't it? Now, actually, what is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is the z transform is exist in this region as well as this region, is it? And these z points are same. So, can we combine these two regions? Yes. Here, if you look at this, mod z is less than mod b, and here mod z is greater than mod e. So I can combine like this. Mod z is greater than mod a and less than mod b. All right. So how it looks like? Mod z is greater than means what? Mod z is greater than means जो a रेडियस का सर्कल है उसका एक्सटेरियर. सो ये है आपका a रेडियस का सर्कल. देखो ये है जो इंटीरियर सर्कल है ना, इनर वाला, ये a रेडियस का सर्कल है, एंड ये बाहर वाला जो है ये b रेडियस का सर्कल है. सो व्हाट दिस मींस, mod z ग्रेटर देन mod a मींस a रेडियस के सर्कल का बाहर का पार्ट. सो पूरा पार्ट देखो, द होल पार्ट आउटसाइड द सर्कल, mod z equal to a, and mod z is less than mod b means what? Interior of the circle with radius b, right? So if I consider this as a circle with radius b, then the interior part of this circle, isn't it? So if I consider the common part, then this will be the common part of both of these. Common part means what? Common part means what? The points z between. But what I mean to ask that the points in between these two circles will satisfy both of these z transforms, remember. Or I can say both of these z transforms are exist for only the common points, isn't it? If I consider the point outside or exterior of the circle mod z equal to mod b, then for those points this z transform will not exist, and for points inside the circle this z transform will not exist. So remember, only for the common points both of these z transforms exist. And how I am considering the common points, I hope it is clear. You can see on the board, I am explaining on the board. Let me know whether it is visible or not. Is it visible here? Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. So when I draw a circle with mod z equal to mod a, or radius with mod a, and when I, okay, so in the first part, z transform exists for mod z less than mod b, isn't it? Mod z, let me write here, mod z less than mod b and mod z greater than mod a. So if this is a circle with mod z greater than, or this is a circle mod z equal to mod A.
Body.
Okay, so what does it mean? It means all the points outside the circle. You can see all these points. Okay, and now let me draw a circle with radius mod B. Okay, so this is a circle with radius mod B. We denote it as a mod Z equal to mod B. Okay, so less than means what? All the points inside of this circle. So how do I write? Isn't it this? Now you can see which are the common points. These are the only common points which satisfy both of these regions. I can say which satisfy both of these regions. These are the points which lie in both of these regions. Here if I consider any, suppose this is Z1, then this Z1 lies in this region also. It is greater than mod A, isn't it? And it is less than mod B also, isn't it? So all those points, we have not included the boundaries, remember. So this is called annular part, and in annular part, this Z transform will exist, remember. So it will be looks like this. Is it okay? Is there any confusion?
No.
Okay, so note that Z transform exists only if mod B greater than mod A and does not exist for equality or mod B less than. Actually, they are talking about this Z transform only if mod B is greater than mod A. It will not exist when they are equal, because mod Z is less than mod A and it is greater than mod A. Such case will not be there, na? Isn't it? Next note, for the finite sequences, Z transform exists for all values of Z except Z equal to 0 and infinity. क्यों भाई? क्या होता है इसको? At 0 and infinity? For finite sequences, Z transform exists for all values of Z except 0 and infinity. इन्फिनिटी पे तो वैसे भी नहीं होगा. Okay. We'll discuss it in an example. Okay. Next note says the region lying between two concentric circles. That is what we see in here. The region lying between two concentric circles. Concentric means what? Circles with same center, right?
Common center.
Common center, right? Circles is called annulus or annular region. Consider f of k. F of k is given to be 5 raised to k for, see, such examples will be asked in final exam, or even such examples also will be asked in general A and B, or in particular A and B. They are one and the same. Okay, same thing. I'm not going to repeat again the same thing. So this Z transform will exist only if mod Z less than 5 and 3, or mod Z greater than 3. So if I combine these two, what I'm getting? 3 is less than mod Z is less than 5. So 3 रेडियस का सर्कल है, 3 नहीं सॉरी √3 ना, √3 सॉरी 3 रेडियस का सर्कल है एंड 5 रेडियस का सर्कल है, तो उन दोनों के इंटीरियर में, उन दोनों के कॉमन पार्ट में दिस Z ट्रांसफॉर्म एग्जिस्ट होगा. So FZ is the sum of two infinite series, both of which are GP. The first series is absolutely convergent if this, okay, we have seen this, so this is a common. All right, now प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ z ट्रांसफॉर्म। यहां तक किसी को कुछ प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है? प्लीज लेट मी
No.
नो इफ एनी प्रॉब्लम। You can even comment in the chat box also if any problem. This is the first property. Okay, कहाँ गया? हाँ, first property, linearity property. So earlier we have discussed about the properties of sequences. Now we are discussing the property of Z transform. So what the first property is? Linearity property. क्या बोलता है linearity property? If we have the two sequences, two different sequences, okay, and A and B are the constants or scalars we can say, then if I want to find the Z transform of A f of k plus B g of k, then वो क्या होगा? A times f of k plus B times g of k. मतलब क्या किया यहाँ? पहले तो वो दोनों सीक्वेंस का मल्टीप्लीकेशन किया है A एंड B के साथ, मतलब A को मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया f of k के साथ एंड B को मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया g of. We have seen the scalar multiplication with the sequences, right? सीक्वेंस को स्केलर से मल्टीप्लाई करना मतलब क्या होता है? सीक्वेंस के हर एक टर्म को मल्टीप्लाई करना, राइट? टर्म के साथ उसको मल्टीप्लाई करना। तो वैसा ही किया है, एफ ऑफ के एंड जी ऑफ के को ए एंड बी से मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया, मींस ईच टर्म को मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया एंड फिर उनको उन दोनों को ऐड कर दिया टर्म बाय टर्म, मतलब ए इंटू फर्स्ट टर्म ऑफ एफ ऑफ के एंड बी इंटू फर्स्ट टर्म ऑफ जी ऑफ के, दोनों को ऐड कर दिया। ऐसे हर एक टर्म को ऐड करने के बाद जो सीक्वेंस बना उसको बोलते हैं ए एफ ऑफ के प्लस बी जी ऑफ के। तो ऐसे कंप्लीट सीक्वेंस का z ट्रांसफॉर्म कैसा होगा? ऐसा होगा कि a इंटू जेड ट्रांसफॉर्म ऑफ एफ ऑफ के प्लस बी इंटू जेड ट्रांसफॉर्म ऑफ जी ऑफ के, मतलब a इंटू जेड ट्रांसफॉर्म ऑफ एफ ऑफ के, मतलब जैसे कि अगर इस एफ ऑफ के का जेड ट्रांसफॉर्म हम अलग निकालते हैं, इस जी ऑफ के का जेड ट्रांसफॉर्म हम अलग निकालते हैं, तो एंड उसके साथ a को मल्टीप्लाई कर देते हैं, इसके साथ b को मल्टीप्लाई कर देते हैं, देन एन ऐड कर देते हैं, तो उनका जो एडिशन है वो इसका z ट्रांसफॉर्म होगा। ऐसे इसका प्रूफ भी है यहाँ देखो कि यहाँ तो बेसिक डेफिनेशन ऑफ z ट्रांसफॉर्म अप्लाई कर दिया। ये हमारा पूरा जस्ट लाइक एफ ऑफ के है, जस्ट लाइक और एनी फंक्शन ऑफ के, उसका हम z ट्रांसफॉर्म फाइंड आउट कर रहे हैं। तो क्या करते हैं हम? इसको इसमें सब्स्टिट्यूट कर देते हैं, राइट? बिकॉज as the definition of z transform is summation of f of k z raised to minus k. So f of k is given to be here that linearity, right? Sorry, not linearity, a f of k plus b g of k. So I have substituted that here. This z should not be there. Okay, this is a printing mistake. This z should not be there. Z raised to minus k, right? So summation a f of k अंदर इसको मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया z रेज़ टू माइनस k को, राइट? एंड देन वी हैव स्प्लिटेड दिस समेशन ओवर दीस टू टर्म्स। तो स्प्लिट करने के बाद ये समेशन k के ऊपर है, तो a वैसे भी कांस्टेंट है तो उसको बाहर लिया, b is also constant, so we have taken outside of the summation, right? And then this is nothing but the z transform of f of k, and this is nothing but the z transform of g of k, right? So that is what the linearity property means. Proof will not be there in final exam, but you should know the proof, isn't it? Because in competitive examinations or in some government examinations, in interviews, such questions will be asked. If any mathematician will be there, then he may ask such questions, how that linearity property works and why. So you should know the basics of these things. Second is z transform of f of k is f of z, that we know. This is just a notation. f of k का z transform fz होता है, g of k का gz होता है। आप इसको कुछ भी बोल सकते हैं, ऐसा नहीं कि f स्मॉल f का कैपिटल F, स्मॉल g का कैपिटल G. These are just notations. Don't get confused with notations. इसका मीनिंग क्या है? कुछ k का सीक्वेंस है, उसका z ट्रांसफॉर्म क्या होगा? z का फंक्शन, एंड दूसरा डिफरेंट k का सीक्वेंस है, g of k बोलते हैं उसको, उसका z ट्रांसफॉर्म क्या होगा? अलग कुछ फंक्शन ऑफ z होगा, ऐसा है. So don't get confused with the notations. Then inverse z transform. So inverse z transform is also linear. You can see here inverse z transform a f of z plus b g of z is equal to a inverse z transform of f of z plus b into inverse z transform of g of z. क्या है inverse z transform of f of z? f of k. And inverse z transform of g of z is g of k. All right. This is very important property, change of scale property. Actually, in earlier pattern, the proof were not be there, remember. So maybe the possibility this time they will ask, but I don't think that proofs are important in engineering. In engineering, only the results and their applications are important. And in pure science, just like in pure mathematics, we are interested in only proofs. Why? That must be clear. Okay, so change of scale property says scaling means scalar multiplication. So originally, previously, I'm having f of k, right? And I'm finding its z transform as a f of z. Now, if I multiply by a scalar to that f of k, that is a f of k, then what will be the change in the z transform of f of k? Are you getting my point? If I'm having f of k, its z transform will be f of z, right? So अगर इसको मैं ऐसे मल्टीप्लाई कर देता हूं तो इसमें क्या चेंज होगा, फंक्शन में क्या चेंज होगा, z ट्रांसफॉर्म में क्या चेंज होगा, दैट इज व्हाट दिस प्रॉपर्टी सेज. तो कैसे चेंज होगा देखो, z ट्रांसफॉर्म ऑफ a रेज टू f ऑफ k. अच्छा, स्केलर का पावर कर दिया यहाँ. So function z transform of a raised to k f of k will be f of z upon a. मतलब देखो मैं बोर्ड पे समझाता हूँ आपको. Is it visible? यहाँ क्या है, हाँ, z transform of f of k is notation is f of z. So मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ अभी, z transform of a raised to k f of k. अगर ये ओरिजिनल f of k के साथ कोई दूसरा फंक्शन दे देते हैं मुझे, जस्ट लाइक ऑफ द फॉर्म a raised to k, देन उसमें कैसा चेंज होगा, इसमें क्या चेंज होगा, फिर इसका जो z है ना वो रेशनल में बदल जाएगा, z अपॉन a. ये प्रॉपर्टी कहाँ काम आती है देखो, हमें ऐसे एग्जांपल्स पूछ सकते हैं इन कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जामिनेशंस. विल बी आस्क्ड टू फाइंड z ट्रांसफॉर्म ऑफ 2 raised to k into sin 3k. ऐसे. Is it visible here?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll be asked to find the z transform of such functions. So this is, अगर मैं इसको f of k बोलता हूँ, is it a function of k? Yes. So इसको अगर मैं f of k बोलता हूँ, तो this will be of the form a raised to k f of k. So what it says, it is जो आपका ओरिजिनल z ट्रांसफॉर्म है उसमें सिंपली रिप्लेस कर दो z को z अपॉन a से. तो इसका z ट्रांसफॉर्म क्या होगा, इसका z ट्रांसफॉर्म क्या होगा, मतलब मैं यहाँ लिखता हूँ पहले.
Sin
तो
3z.
देखो मैं इसको यहाँ लिखता हूँ, इसको इसमें एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ पहले. z ट्रांसफॉर्म ऑफ a रेज टू k f ऑफ k क्या होगा, जो आपका ओरिजिनल है, ओरिजिनल f ऑफ z है, दैट इज f ऑफ z ना, इसमें आपको रिप्लेस करना है z को किसके साथ, z अपॉन a के साथ. समझ रहे हो, ये जो आपका है इसका z ट्रांसफॉर्म एंड इसमें रिप्लेस कर दो z अपॉन a से. तो ये इसका z ट्रांसफॉर्म क्या होगा, जो ये है फंक्शन अंदर वाला, इसका z ट्रांसफॉर्म पहले तो फाइंड आउट करो एंड उसमें रिप्लेस कर दो, z को रिप्लेस कर दो किससे, z अपॉन 2 से. समझ रहे हो मेरी बात? That is what the application, and that is your final answer. If you want the proof of this, what is the proof? Proof is given here, you can see there how it works. That suppose ये है हमारा ओरिजिनल प्रॉपर्टी, z ट्रांसफॉर्म f of k is f of z which is summation of f of k z raised to minus k. Now if I replace f of k by a raised to k, okay, यहाँ रिवर्सली गए हैं, z से रिप्लेस कर दिया z by a से, z को रिप्लेस कर दिया z by a से, ओके तो यहाँ क्या होगा, z अपॉन a हो जाएगा, राइट, एंड अपॉन a मीन्स a रेस टू माइनस, अपॉन a मीन्स वो a ऊपर जाता है तो a रेस टू माइनस हो जाता है, राइट. देखो यहाँ क्या होगा, a रेस टू माइनस 1 रेस टू माइनस k विल बी a रेस टू k, राइट, f ऑफ k z रेस टू माइनस k. तो अगर मैं इसको पूरा फंक्शन बोलता हूँ, राइट, ये इसको a रेस टू k के साथ f ऑफ k, तो ये क्या होता है, ये जो है समेशन ऑफ a रेस टू k f ऑफ k z रेस टू माइनस k, ये क्या है, ये किसका z ट्रांसफॉर्म है, a रेस टू k f ऑफ k का, दैट इज व्हाट दे हैव रिटन हियर. आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? सो देयरफॉर हमने रिवर्स से लिखा है z ट्रांसफॉर्म ऑफ a रेस टू k f ऑफ k इज f ऑफ z बाय a. इसको कैसे अप्लाई करेंगे मैंने बता दिया आपको एग्जांपल में. देखो उसके लिए आपको मालूम होना चाहिए कि sin 3 का z ट्रांसफॉर्म क्या होता है और कैसे फाइंड आउट करना होता है. So that we are going to discuss, don't worry, that I am going to discuss. Just try to get the property here. Now the second property is z transform of f of k is f of z. ये हमेशा होता है, ये नोटेशन है. तो अगर ऐसा है तो z ट्रांसफॉर्म ऑफ e रेस टू माइनस a के f of k कैसे होगा, f of e रेस टू a z. अगर e रेस टू माइनस a के साथ आपका ओरिजिनल फंक्शन है तो आपको ओरिजिनल फंक्शन के z ट्रांसफॉर्म में z को किससे रिप्लेस करना है, e रेस टू a इंटू z से. समझ रहे हो? अगर यहाँ प्लस होता है e रेस टू प्लस a के, देन यहाँ e रेस टू माइनस a इंटू z से रिप्लेस करना है. दैट इज व्हाट द चेंज. हाउ? दिस इज व्हाई. बट फॉर यू here in engineering, how is not important, only in engineering, okay, but you should know. And actually always my suggestion while studying maths is what, you should have a answer to your how and why. You have to search the answer till and until you get satisfied with the thing, how and why. Always try to ask these things to you yourself, that how this and why. Next is shifting property. Shift function shift होता है, either it will be left shift, right shift, up shift or down shift. These are only the 4 shifts are there. So here the first property is, in shifting the first property is z transform of f of k is f of z, then z transform of f of k plus n is मतलब f of k plus n. आप समझते हो ये फंक्शन में वेरिएबल में शिफ्ट करते हैं तो ये शिफ्टिंग कैसा होता है. डू यू नो दिस प्रॉपर्टीज, शिफ्टिंग प्रॉपर्टीज, डू यू नो?
No.
Actually okay, this is not a part of your syllabus, but let me discuss because that is important to analyze the graphs also. Shifting properties, this is actually the content beyond syllabus, remember, as the shifting word is there. I'm discussing with you always. I hope this is visible. Shifting, so first of all दो टाइप के शिफ्टिंग होती है. एक तो कैसे, देखो सपोज आई हैव अ, इज इट विजिबल, इज दिस विजिबल?
हाँ सर.
Kind of shifting, either the shifting is just like
सर नीचे नहीं करना,
थोड़ा नीचे लिखना है. मैं कैमरा ऊपर लेता हूँ. Okay now?
हाँ सर.
Okay. So if I have a function y equal to x, then there will be two change in independent variable and change in dependent variable, right? So if there is a change in independent variable, then always remember independent variable कहाँ इस फंक्शन में इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल कौन से एक्सिस पे लाई करता है? एक्स एक्सिस पे ऑफ कोर्स, राइट। एंड ये जो y है वो y एक्सिस पे। तो y क्या डिनोट करता है? आपको मालूम है x एंड y क्या डिनोट करते हैं? डोंट से x एंड y एक्सिस और द ऑर्डर पेयर। क्या जरूरत है इसको स्टडी करने की, x एंड y एक्सिस और द पोजीशंस? एक्चुअली x and y or those order pairs are representing the position. That x coordinate represent actually what is your horizontal displacement, and y coordinate represent what is your vertical displacement. Always remember. So this is related to horizontal displacement and this is related to vertical displacement, vertical movement, and this is horizontal movement, isn't it? So here in shifting also the same thing. x में अगर आप चेंज कर रहे हो तो फंक्शन हॉरिजॉन्टली शिफ्ट हो रहा है, एंड अगर y में चेंज कर रहे हो तो फंक्शन वर्टिकली शिफ्ट हो रहा है। जस्ट फॉर एग्जांपल y इक्वल टू, सिंपल एग्जांपल लेते हैं हम x। तो व्हाट इज द ग्राफ ऑफ दिस फंक्शन y इक्वल टू x का ग्राफ कैसे होता है? इट इज अ
Straight line.
straight line passing through origin, right?
45 degree.
Isn't it? So एक्चुअली x नहीं लेना चाहिए था, दूसरा फंक्शन लेते हैं हम, एक्स स्क्वायर लेते हैं, क्योंकि x से आप कंफ्यूज हो जाएंगे शायद, इसलिए मैं चेंज कर दिया। क्या कंफ्यूजन है वो भी मैं बता दूंगा, नहीं तो आप बोलोगे कि ऐसे क्यों चेंज किया। व्हाट इज द ग्राफ ऑफ दिस y इक्वल टू x स्क्वायर?
Parabola.
इट इज अ पैराबोला, अपवर्ड पैराबोला ना, am I right?
हाँ सर।
पीछे का। Most of the students are confused whether it is upward parabola or opening to the right parabola. That is also the type of confusion there,
Confusion.
isn't it? Always remember, if the power of x is even, then see x का power even में मतलब even है, मतलब क्या है, उसका नेगेटिव पावर भी प्लस होगा एंड पॉजिटिव पावर भी प्लस होगा, राइट? तो प्लस होगा मतलब क्या? पॉजिटिव होगा, तो ऊपर ही होगा, है ना? कौन ऊपर होगा, कौन पॉजिटिव होगा? नेगेटिव पार्ट भी पॉजिटिव होगा, पॉजिटिव पार्ट भी पॉजिटिव होगा। किसका होगा? एक्स का होगा, इज इट पॉजिटिव? So that is why the parabola will be opening upward, and if it is minus then that will be opening downward. अभी देखो, if it is x is equal to y square, then यहाँ किसका पावर है? y का पावर इवन है। तो इसका मतलब क्या है? y के नेगेटिव एंड पॉजिटिव जो है वो पॉजिटिव ही हो रहे हैं, है ना? if y is negative then it will be, इसका स्क्वायर will be positive, and if y is positive then already it is positive, isn't it? तो कौन पॉजिटिव हो रहा है? x पॉजिटिव हो रहा है। तो देखो y नेगेटिव एंड y पॉजिटिव मिला के क्या हो रहा है? x पॉजिटिव हो रहा है। तो ऐसे आप याद रख सकते हो, एंड इफ इट इज माइनस साइन देन लाइक दिस। इज इट ओके? इज देयर एनी कंफ्यूजन? आपको ये बेसिक रूल तो पता होना चाहिए, सो दैट यू कैन स्केच, यू कैन ड्रॉ एनी ग्राफ anywhere anytime by knowing this. And even I think you have discussed the rule of tracing curves in M2, right? Curve tracing you might have discussed.
हाँ sir.
Okay,
Fourth chapter.
fourth chapter, isn't it? So y equal to x square is a parabola opening upward. Now if there is a change in dependent variable, so let us shift y is equal to x minus 1. Now first of all try to get that I have changed in dependent variable x, isn't it? So what will happen? x minus 1 square का ग्राफ कहाँ होगा?
उधर ही सर थोड़ा शिफ्ट होगा।
कहाँ शिफ्ट होगा? लेफ्ट या राइट में? राइट में शिफ्ट होगा ना?
राइट।
कैसे? एक्चुअली ये जीरो पे जीरो हो रहा है, तो ये जीरो पे जीरो नहीं होगा, राइट? ये कहाँ जीरो होगा? जीरो मतलब क्या? एक्चुअली जीरो मतलब एक्स एक्सिस को टच कर रहा है वो। ऑलवेज रिमेंबर, जीरो का मतलब क्या होता है? एक्स एक्सिस को टच कर रहा है एट दैट पॉइंट। सो एट एक्स इज इक्वल टू 1 दैट विल बी जीरो, isn't it? So like this, that will be like this. तो ये कहाँ शिफ्ट हो गया? हॉरिजॉन्टली शिफ्ट हो गया, राइट? अगर ये प्लस में करता हूं तो वो कहाँ शिफ्ट हो जाएगा, लेफ्ट शिफ्ट हो जाएगा, राइट, हॉरिजॉन्टली. Always remember, if there is a change in independent variable, then there will be a horizontal shifting. And if there is a change in dependent variable, तो dependent variable में change कैसे होगा, x square, let us take +1, तो ये कैसे होगा, देखो
ऊपर शिफ्ट होगा एक.
है ना. आप पॉइंट से कर सकते हो, पॉइंट का एकदम बेसिक मेथड हमने आई थिंक 7th और 8th स्टैंडर्ड में पढ़ा है, हाउ टू ड्रॉ द ग्राफ बाय कंसीडरिंग x पॉइंट्स एंड देयर करस्पॉन्डिंग y पॉइंट्स बाय, isn't it? So at x is equal to 0, what is y? At x is equal to 0, y is 0, y is 1, right? So ये जो ओरिजिनल हमारा पैराबोला था ये ऊपर शिफ्ट हो गया. ओके, सो ये टेक्निक्स कहाँ यूज करने हैं आपको, जैसे कि आपको कुछ भी विजुअलाइज करना है, आपको सपोज ऐसे कुछ क्वाड्रेटिक फंक्शन है, y इक्वल टू से कुछ कॉम्प्लिकेटेड फंक्शन अभी है पैराबोला +1, राइट. अगर मैं फिर से इसका ऐसे होता तो x +1 स्क्वायर -1, तो इसका मीनिंग क्या है, ये कहाँ जाएगा ये ग्राफ, ये दिखने के तो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड लग रहा है लेकिन है तो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं वो, इसको हम सिंपली मिनिमाइज कर सकते हैं थोड़ी देर के लिए, सो
सर
दैट,
नीचे जाके राइट को शिफ्ट होगा.
है ना, नीचे
सर
जाके,
लेफ्ट को
हाँ,
शिफ्ट होगा.
पहले तो वो चेंज कहाँ है, इंडिपेंडेंट
y
वेरिएबल में है,
एक्सिस.
तो वो राइट में
लेफ्ट में.
ये लेफ्ट में शिफ्ट
लेफ्ट में
होगा एंड देन नीचे जाएगा
नीचे.
ना, ऐसे ही. सो दीज आर द 4 रूल्स ऑफ शिफ्टिंग, shifting to the right, shifting to the left, shifting to up and shifting to the down, that is depends on dependent and independent variable. These shifting rules are there. I think we have crossed the time, stop here, we'll discuss the shifting property in next lecture. Okay, please remind me, we have to start from shifting property. All right, thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.